2020 has been a difficult year for many reasons, not the least of which has been the extensive and record-breaking wildfires across much of the western United States. Very close to home here, devastating fires destroyed large swaths of western Oregon forests and leveled entire towns. While some wildfires are started by lightning, the statistics gathered by numerous agencies agree that somewhere between 85 and 90% of wildfires are human-caused. Those of us who are out there using the wilderness bear a responsibility to practice the utmost care. Adhere to campfire restrictions when they are in place, and when they are permitted, make sure your campfire is completely out before leaving your site. Target shooting is a common and allowed activity in many BLM and national forest areas, but incendiary targets or tracer rounds are always prohibited on public lands due to the fire dangers they pose. Take care not to idle or park in tall grass, which can combust from the heat of your engine or exhaust components, not only potentially destroying your vehicle and leaving you stranded, but very possibly sparking a wildfire in the process.
The most basic piece of fire suppression gear that should be in or on every vehicle out roaming our public lands is a shovel. In fact, you're actually required to have a shovel with you to travel through certain areas at certain times of the year. A shovel serves numerous useful purposes when exploring the backcountry, both for vehicle recovery and for numerous tasks around camp. Seriously, always have a shovel with you. Even with a shovel on board, no one should be out there in the wilderness without a fire extinguisher as well.
Driving through overgrown brush, cooking and heating with propane, and building campfires are all activities with inherent risk. On top of that, car fires due to malfunctions or other issues do happen. I'm sure we've all seen a car burning on the side of the freeway at least once or twice in our lives. As many of you know, my friend Casey over on the Coyote Works channel had his Jeep catch fire while out in the backcountry.
This is why you carry a fire extinguisher.
It could happen to any of us. Car fires burn fast, and every second counts to minimize the spread of a fire. An effective fire extinguisher is crucial.
As you may have noticed in many of my earlier videos, I have always had a fire extinguisher integrated into my kitchen setup. So this is the extinguisher I've been carrying in my car. It's just whatever I found at the auto parts store for, $20-30. It's certainly better than nothing. But in the back of my mind, I have to admit, I've always wondered about this sort of flimsy looking plastic mechanism. Will it function when the time comes? Hopefully. But if I was in an accident and it got loose from the admittedly flimsy looking mount that it came with, would it withstand getting tossed around the car? I'm not so sure. Additionally, looking closely at the label, I see this is actually just rated B and C, so flammable liquids and electrical fires, which certainly makes sense for responding to a fire under the hood. But what if it was something else that was actually burning? And if I empty this thing onto my engine, what's that gonna do to the electrical equipment and other sensitive components under here? And what's it gonna be like to clean it up?
This is the hal-guard extinguisher from H3R Performance. I've mounted it right here at the base of my driver's seat. This unit will be my first line of defense for a car fire. This is an automotive BC extinguisher for fighting flammable liquids and electrical fires, but unlike my old BC extinguisher, this unit contains Halitron 1, a clean fire suppression agent commonly used on commercial aircraft and by airport firefighters. Rather than coating your engine compartment with a potentially damaging chemical agent that may in fact do further harm to your car and require extensive cleanup, this extinguishing product actually dissipates into a gas. This liquefied gas approach not only leaves no mess, it more effectively penetrates the convoluted spaces in your engine compartment to better extinguish hard-to-reach fires.
So just a quick side note, H3R Performance did partner with me to generously provide the new extinguishers I'm showing you, but I have not been paid to produce this video. And while I've definitely gained some valuable knowledge working with H3R Performance, everything expressed here is my own words and opinions.
I was thoroughly impressed when I first started looking into H3R Performance. This is a company that takes fire extinguishers seriously. They are built in the USA to exacting standards and rigorously tested. All that said, I personally have nothing to gain if you buy from H3R Performance. As someone on a tight budget myself, I understand that these specific products might not fit within your current budget, but my hope is that you will still find this to be useful information to help you be prepared with whatever extinguisher your budget will support.
As I mentioned earlier, a B/C rated extinguisher like the hal-guard that I've mounted in front is technically not rated to put out fires that are wood, paper, anything that leaves an ash. So back here in my kitchen, I've installed the H3R Performance Max Out extinguisher. Now this is rated A, B, C. The A designation means it is rated for common combustibles such as wood or paper. This is a more likely scenario that I could possibly run into back here in my kitchen where I'm cooking with propane or possibly tending to a campfire. As this is still rated B and C for flammable liquids and electrical, it will serve as a backup to the hal-guard I've got mounted in front if needed for an actual car fire under the hood. Is carrying 2 extinguishers overkill? Well, I suspect that if I'm ever in the situation where I'm actually fighting a fire, I'll be grateful to have a second extinguisher available. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
It's easy to see that these are solid, well-made extinguishers. The handle, trigger, nozzle, and the siphon tube inside the tank are all metal, and unlike the extinguisher I've been toting around for the past few years, these can actually be recharged after use, instead of getting tossed in the landfill. One detail that really struck me about these H3R Performance extinguishers is the impressively sturdy metal mounting brackets they ship with. I've mounted mine with some specialized brackets, which I will show you momentarily. But the mounts these come with out of the box are quite nice and could easily be adapted to a variety of locations where you might want to mount an extinguisher. As I mentioned before, I am using some dedicated mounts for these new extinguishers. Here in front, I've mounted the hal-guard to my driver's seat with the H3R Performance universal seat mount. This is a pretty nicely designed bracket. It's got a number of different options for how you can mount it under your seat, and it is prepared to accept a number of different fire extinguisher mounts. I will say, if you have an SH Forester or possibly another Subaru, it was a bit of a puzzle to find a way to fit this in here. I had to get creative in order to make it work. If you have a Forester or another Subaru, you may want to look at brackets that are designed for fitting under a Subaru seat. I know that there are a couple of versions available out there. Back here in my kitchen, I've installed H3R's Extreme Duty bracket. This provides a solid, secure mount for the extinguisher ready to withstand the rigors of off-road travel. The way this Extreme Duty quick release fire extinguisher bracket works is this is what gets mounted in your vehicle. The extinguisher gets this extra piece mounted on the back of it, and it fits on there and is held in place by a pin. The extinguisher is deployed via this quick release system by simply pulling this tab, allowing extremely rapid response to a fire.
As to the actual use of a fire extinguisher, no, sorry, I'm not going to set anything on fire and put it out. A basic acronym that is often used to help you remember the technique is PASS. Pull the pin, aim for the base of the fire, squeeze the trigger, and sweep across the base of the fire. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that show you how to properly use a fire extinguisher, and I would highly recommend going and finding a few of those and watching them.
Once your extinguishers are installed, make it a regular part of your routine to inspect them. Once a month or each time you load up for a trip is a good opportunity to take a moment to look at the gauge to make sure it's still showing fully charged, make sure there's no blockage in the nozzle, and that there is no damage to any parts of the extinguisher. Refer to your extinguisher's documentation for additional inspection and maintenance requirements. I hope you found this useful, and I hope you will take a moment to reassess what you have in place for responding to a fire. Fast, effective fire response may not only save your vehicle, but can prevent a small fire from developing into a devastating wildfire that threatens wilderness, property, and lives. Many thanks to H3R Performance for partnering with me to make this video possible. I will put a link in the description below to the items that I've shown you. Thanks for watching.